one of the first 3 picks that I love the most in this draft is I love that you guys got Colston Loveland to the Bears.
Nicely done.
This kid is terrific. In a season in which the Michigan played most of the season without a quarterback, they direct snapped it to Mullings and Donovan Edwards. Oh, by the way, I love the fact the Jets got Donovan Edwards. He is a terrific player. He has unreal hands. He has incredible size. He'll be a superstar right away like Sam Laporta. Like, he's going to come in and go, boy, this guy, and there's a reason why he got taken ahead of Ty Warren. He has all the skills. And when you can still be a top 10 pick, when you're going through a senior year where you caught passes from a 7th-year senior and a gadget quarterback who has since transferred, this tells you the level of talent that he has. I mean, every ball to him on the sideline, he's a great boundary receiver. I think he's going to wind up being the player that the Bills thought Dalton Kincaid was going to be when they drafted him. Colston Loveland is terrific. And again, he's going to be one of the, and look, now you have a pretty good situation at tight end because you have another tight end who's not bad. Mm-hmm. You got everything you need. You have all the weapons you need. Keep giving guys to Caleb Williams. This is going to be some kind of pick, and I'm telling you, he's going to jump out right away, have a Sam Laporta type rookie year. He's that good.
You know what's fun is when the pick got made, and we did the show on Thursday night, we came on, and for those that missed that, it comes back to I love the toys that are picked. I thought they needed some more infrastructure defensively, whatever. But the pick in and of itself, absolutely. Let Ben Johnson have another guy to go to work. And we joked about the fact
the thing is
that he was able to do that without a quarterback.
The offense needs to look good. If the defense stinks this year, but the offense is great, positive year.
No, that's it.
The offense can't look bad. The defense is all right. It's like, why do we bring you in here? The offense needs to look good. That's why they went after that. That was a head coach pick right there.
And now they might go and pick up Nick Chubb. That's gaining some steam in the interwebs. But all of that to say that you get a guy that's a good complement to Kmet, and obviously fits into a system, doesn't need to get fed 10 to 12 times a game to make an impact. And so the opportunity is certainly there. And for Caleb Williams, it's going to be a lot about playing on time. You fortified the offensive line during the offseason and in the draft as well. But now it's all about getting him to play. And what's the best safety valve you can have is a couple of tight ends that can split seams and go to work. And so he's got that for sure.
Exit, how about a Fresca? Exit Swollen Dome. So there's the first of my favorite 3 picks in the NFL draft. We got putting a cap on the draft here, right? Like my 3 favorite overall picks of the draft. And they're all first rounders. Okay. And they're guys that didn't get a lot of attention because we spent so much time on Jador Sanders and the big trade with Travis Hunter. So I gave you Colston Loveland a few minutes ago. It's crazy. 2 of them are tight ends. But the second pick that I love the most is I love Ty Warren to the Colts because that's the only thing missing on that offense. People are sleeping on how good this offense is, mainly because, well, Anthony Richardson has issues and Daniel Jones is the other guy. But this is a team that, you have one of the best. You have a top 5 running back. You have 4 good wide receivers. That any of those guys would be 2s on. Even Alec Pierce would be a 2 on another team. You just needed a tight end, right? You had been trying to make it with Kylan Granson for a while, and now you go out and get a guy who is an absolute target monster, who will be able to slide. He's a plug-and-play guy. Whoever winds up being the quarterback for the Colts long-term this year, it'll probably be Daniel Jones, is going to have a phenomenal year, and people are sleeping on this offense. That's the only thing that the Colts were missing, and they get Ty Warren, falls to them. I mean, the fact he's sitting there in the middle of the first round when he's a guy that was supposed to go in the top 5, top 7, there's no way the Colts thought they'd get him, and yet here they are. There was an incredible stroke of luck they got him, but I love that pick.
Well, it took your team actually doing something sensible for that to happen.
Yeah, sure.
Who knew? The Jets set up the Colts for success. Look, obviously, for Steichen and company, trying to figure out how to make the most of it. You're hopeful for a big step forward from Mitchell, who was a top draft pick for you last year. But you're right. You do have 3 other wide receivers who are quite good. Pittman Jr., when healthy, has been fantastic. And Alec Pierce, can take the top off of any defense. Big play threat. And that's even with the accuracy issues you had from Richardson. I don't know how much that's solved from Daniel Jones, but we've seen him work to some success, and you'll have some balance and definition with Taylor behind him. So certainly like that there. I liked Walter Nolan going to, because we had to get a guy.
Walter.
Exactly. If we talk Lebowski so much, we got to get a Walter in. And we talked about it with Jason La Canfora a little bit earlier, but the fact that the Cardinals just pushed heavy into the defense, again, trying to achieve balance and maybe take a little bit off the pressure for the offense for Kyler Murray to have to go out and outscore everybody like it's a video game. No pun intended. Pun fully intended. Every week. But to come back then with Will Johnson, who's the greatest. I'm just pushing all my bets to the center of the table that if this works out right, because he was a top 5 to 7 guy until you go through the medical evals and you have no idea how that's going to respond. If it responds appropriately, you now have a guy who's there for a decade, hits a bunch of Pro Bowls, and you look like geniuses in the second round. So I like that they pushed in and went gutsy on the defensive side twice.
And the last one, and this may be my favorite overall pick of the draft, just because of what this can do to a team that already is knocking on the door. But the Chargers getting Amari Hampton in the first round. This kid is incredibly good.
He hates you now.
I know. It's like
Frostberg just walked away from the microphone. He can't even be kept.
He's a house. He is a 3-down running back. The only thing he's not going to do is catch passes out of the backfield, but no big deal. This is the running back room that Jim Harbaugh wanted when he got the job. I got to get by with, hey, John, give me the 2 guys that can't stay healthy for you. But now you're talking about an Amari Hampton, Najee Harris backfield. The only thing I don't like is that, boy, Justin Herbert in fantasy this year, he may only throw the ball about 8 times a game. But this is the sledgehammer running back system that he's wanted. This is the system he's wanted to bring from Michigan when he was winning, when he had 2 good running backs all the way through the last few years, where there's Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards that won a national championship for him. This is the running back room he wants, and Amari Hampton is a stud. I've seen him play a lot in the last few years at North Carolina. There's nothing the guy can't do. Both these guys will be fresh. Najee Harris is durable. You talk about the offensive move that is going to lift a team more when it gets to what they can do in the season and in the playoffs. This is it. This is a team that can run the ball and can just ram it down your throat for 60 minutes a game. And as time goes on, will one guy get more carries than the other? Sure. I'm sure they'll bring Amari Hampton on a little bit slower because Najee Harris is very durable. I say this and Harris is going to get hurt. Very durable. But when it comes time to the playoffs, it's going to be, how do you stop these guys? How do you stop this sledgehammer offense that the Chargers have? That's why I like this move the most out of all of them, because this is going to take the Chargers from knocking on the door to being a Super Bowl threat. That's how big an addition Amari Hampton is.
Yeah, I think when you look at last year, it was cobbled together and they were very effective for long stretches of the season. And yes, the Justin Herbert over-under on yardage and everything is certainly a curiosity to watch as the season gets ready to go. You bring back Williams, whatever else. But yeah, certainly you want to play balanced, shortened games. Right, you got a tough division that you're going to have to fight through, because the Raiders, while they may not push the envelope on the win total, I think they're still at 5.5 wins for the year. Tell me they're not going to be a much tougher out.
Yeah,
right.
Of course.
Again, with balance, Geno is light years ahead of what they were throwing out there at quarterback. Not that he's a wizard, but that shows you what they've been dealing with, right? And add Ashton Genty to the process. But for the Chargers, this goes back to identity. So more Harbaugh billboards alongside the injury and accident attorneys here in Los Angeles, no question about it. I'll do you one favor. I'll do the return bout with Mason Taylor going to your Jets.
Thanks, buddy. I like that. I like that pick, too. I like our draft.
But again, it goes back to, we talked about the draft for outside of the couple of names, and we do a drive-by here with Genty. We talk about Cam Ward and Travis Hunter and a few other players, Shedeur Sanders certainly. But this is a draft that isn't about sexiness. This was a draft to stock your cupboards and get the goods, get the interiors, right? You're going to eventually get the good paint job for your car and make it all look shiny, but you need the guts have to be good. That's what this draft was to me for a lot of teams. That you're like, all right, what did they do? Well, they draft, it's a couple of linemen, it's a couple of defensive linemen. All right, it's a quarterback, but like nothing that stands out. But you're like, all right, this team got a lot better, or they should at least, the floor has been raised for them. And I think a lot of teams, that's always the goal. I think this was a draft that's how you would have characterized it going in, and certainly coming out very much the same way.
Well, one thing you got to see, Frostberg showed me the picture. Like Jim Harbaugh is a big guy. Like he's 6'3", goes about 215. Frostberg showed me a picture of when he met Amari and Hampton coming to Chargers facilities, and Harbaugh looks like he's 5'5". Like Hampton is just, he's just huge. And it's not like he's 6'9". No, he's 6 foot. He goes about 225, 230, but it just looks like, well, Harbaugh looks like he would swallow his hand, and this is your running back. It's like that picture when they showed that picture of Derrick Henry next to Mark Ingram when they were on the field, and you're like, oh my goodness, this Mark Ingram looks like he's 4 feet tall.
What, 7-8 inches?
Take a look at that picture. You see Amari and Hampton.
What's funny is Jim Harbaugh, I mean, while he's not the same stature he was when he was guesting on Saved by the Bell as, Screech's cousin or whatever the tie was there, still a big man. And certainly great expectations for the Chargers here year 2.
Now, let's get to the Bills story today because this was fantastic. So the draft is over. WGR, the big heritage station in Buffalo, the biggest AM sports station in Buffalo. And Brandon Beane, the Bills GM, called in to be on the show. Now, before he goes on the show, he hears the hosts on the air talking about how they didn't draft a wide receiver. How do you not draft a wide receiver? This whole conversation. And Brandon Beane came on and wanted to make sure everybody knows, hey, quit it with the wide receiver stuff. You guys don't know what you're talking about.
You guys were bitching in 2018 about Josh Allen. You guys wanted Josh Rosen, and now you guys are bitching that we don't have a receiver. I don't get it. We just scored 30 points in a row for 8 straight games. A year ago, I get you guys asking why we didn't have receivers, but I don't understand it now. You just saw us lead the league in points. Our job is to score points and win games. Where do we need to get better? Defense. We did that. So I get it. You got to have a show. You got to have something to bitch about. But bitching about wide receiver is one of the dumbest arguments I've heard.
Get those 4s up.
Okay. So here's where he's right and where he's wrong. Okay. Is he right about the team? Yeah. I think we talked about this when they let Stephon Diggs go. What do we say? Hey, they're not just going to let Stephon Diggs go unless they're certain that this is addition by subtraction of what they can do to the wide receiver room is going to be fine. I said, you know what? I'm going to leave it out. They obviously know something we don't. And look what happened. The offense was great, right? So, yeah, I get his philosophy of, yeah, we had to get better on defense. He didn't need to get better offensively. Josh Allen won MVP. However, right, it was for him to win MVP. He won MVP, right? The offense terrific. James Cook is phenomenal, right? The end of the year he had. The offense is great. Yes, defense is where they had to go. So I get that, right? He's right. However, Brandon Beane's got to understand, and this gets to a point where this is about you and I, and gets bigger than just this, is that we do the show for fans. We don't do the show for teams, players, coaches. And the lines have been blurred over about the last few years because there's too many shows that really try to just engage teams than they do now. Like, this is how I'm going to do it because this is how I'm going to get a lot of clicks on social media. I'm going to try to engage. I'm going to say bad things about players. I'm going to say glowing things about players.
Well, see if the coach responds, the player responds,
I'm going to do
whatever.
This, right? Yeah. But, and instead, I think a lot of shows have lost that, hey, you got to connect with the people. Listen, you got to connect the fans. I always say the same. When someone says it, I'm like Billy Crudup from Almost Famous. We play for the fans, and he says goodbye to William. He's there to write an article on him. We play for the fans. Like I do, you and I do the show for the people listening. That's who we do the show for. I don't do the show for JJ Redick. I don't care if he hates me. I don't do the show for JJ Redick. I don't do the show for anybody. But look at how many people the last few years in the media have, and this is not about these guys here, but the radio host in Buffalo, this is about how many people now can only find a way to make headlines talking sports when either they're feuding with a player or a coach or they want to feud with somebody else in the media. This is the only way these guys are making headlines now. The only way I see some of these guys are supposedly great TV and radio hosts. All they do, the only headlines they make is when I'm getting into it with a coach or a team, or I'm into it with another member of the media. Right? This is a sweet spot now. Oh, I don't think people really care as much, but the people will blog about it. They'll write about it because on the blogs they care more about writing about a feud between two radio hosts that people know than if something crazy call happened between a host and someone who was calling in as a listener. So that line has gotten blurred where more and more people are doing the shows for them. And Brandon Beane's got to understand that, hey, these guys are not doing the show for you. They're not doing the show for anything. Not doing the show for Josh Allen. Not doing the show for Josh Rosen. Not doing the show for anybody. They're doing the show for the people listening. And that's how we do it. And that's the right way a show should be done. And you know what? Fans in Buffalo, they're saying, Why is there not a wide receiver? Okay, so you know what? They got to talk about that because you got to talk about what the fans care about. If the fans say, hey, we need a wide receiver. If they had a big poll question up in WGR where they said, hey, what did the Bills do wrong? And 97% said, where is a wide receiver? Guess what? That's a bleeping topic, man. That's a topic. I'm sorry, but you have to understand they don't do the show for you. The show is done for that, and that's what these hosts are doing. That they have to do because, hey, okay, we're beholden to our listeners, and they want to know why we didn't take a wide receiver. Okay, let's break it down. Why don't we take one? Bad move here, good move here. Whatever it is, you have the discussion on it. That's what Brandon Beane's got to understand.
Well, he also could have done a 5-minute monologue about how good Josh Palmer could be. Sell. That's the guy you did bring in. Right? So
he did bring up Palmer. He said, look, we brought these guys in. Okay.
But instead of doing his, how many times? What did we get, 4?
I think four
B words.
Yeah, I think
or derivations thereof.
4.
Yeah, get those 4s up. But it's just the idea that, you gotta bristle at it, and it became a talking point. And I'm sure there were articles written because you're keeping apprised of what's going on, right? The fan base. For years, everybody would claim, I don't listen, I don't hear it. And we knew they were liars. And more, we've seen that to be true. As for the media battles, look, I'm convinced 98% of those are WWE kayfabe. Hey, we haven't had anything in a while. Can you, or, you take the lowest tropes, and I'm not even going to breathe them into the air here at Fox Sports Radio in the moment. You know what they are whenever there's a topic. Hey, we could go down that highway. Let's go down that highway. You just watched it with Shedeur Sanders in his fall, right? And certainly the Eagles' visit to the White House today had everybody taking up arms. So you do all that, but most of it seems fabricated. To try to get the engagement. And again, they're engaging with your fans. Is it the right way to do it? Probably not.